So hopefully Bosch will save the day. So let's tear down the Losi Promoto MX. Okay, so here's what's inside of that flywheel. Here's the stator, I guess you call it. Here's the electric motor part. And I pulled that out. It's got a little plug up here. And in here, I find some shims that are attached to the magnets. I'll just try to hook them out. Now they're all bent. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if they're supposed to be bent. They all are bent. And we got a spacer, if I can get it. And our spacer. And in here, this is the flywheel. So it's very magnetic. Okay, so I had to take the other side apart, swing this down, and take out this cover. So inside, screws rolling. Inside we see the motor component, the batteries. We see the motor component, the magnets, and this part is the actual flywheel. It's quite big and it's quite heavy. Now, I don't see anything wrong with it. It is a balanced flywheel, and that's what those little pieces of metal are in the inside. They are the balance. So this should be balanced. They look like little pieces of welds. Now the only way I think this could come out of balance would be if those welds let go. On this side, you can see they're up there on the top ridge. But how would I know? How would I know if they actually let go? So anyway, that's the flywheel, and behind that we just have the case. So I don't actually see anything wrong with the flywheel after doing all that work. The bearings look good inside. They move easily. So I don't know. I'll just put that back in there. There are a lot of parts, and we can see the bike is pretty much disassembled. So it's not too much work to take apart. It's a bit of work, I think, to put back together correctly. So going in there and looking at all this, I haven't really seen anything. So what I'm going to do is leave this plate off and reassemble the flywheel and turn it on with it disassembled like this. I got everything kind of reassembled. Now I'm going to turn it on. One thing I want you to pay attention to: a lot of people online said the ESC could handle 3S, but it's clearly marked 2S. So that's interesting. So the bike is still in pieces, but I found this. I think this is for hooking up to the hobby wing not hobby wing, hooking up to this Spectrum box. I have one somewhere. I'm going to hook it up and we're going to look at that in a moment. But now we're going to turn it on. Hopefully it doesn't fall off the desk here. So it's running. Now I hear a fan. I just don't know where the fan is. Doesn't seem... There might be a fan on top. I guess there's a fan on top. Right in there. It's awful crowded. I don't think there's a lot of airflow to that fan. That's why these things overheat. Turn on the controller. Let's just see what happens. Okay. Pick the bike up. And notice when I rock it, the sound isn't changing. When I was outside and I did this, the sound changed a lot. But it's no longer doing that. So it sounds good. Maybe something was loose, and where I tightened everything up, it works fine. And the stutter is now gone out of my servo. So I don't know why. There's no more stuttering in my servo. Let's turn off the flywheel. So here I have the Spectrum box. It's exactly the same as the Hobby Wing, and if you're around like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Speed Energy had the same one as well. So they're all the same. I don't know if a Hobby Wing would work in a Spectrum ESC. I never tried, but they're all the same box, which is interesting. So I'm going to plug this in to this outlet here. Okay, so we got our box. So, I don't know if you can read that. Drag brake is 40% out of the box. It's down to 3 volts a cell. DRS punch is level 2. Brake force is 25%. Reverse force is 25%. And that's it. So running mode, forward, and brake. So it doesn't matter what the reverse is. So that's the settings out of the box. I'm not going to change any of those. More punch. More punch would probably give us more wheelies. They're probably uncontrollable. So I think it's working now. Having taken it all apart, and now we get to look inside. You can see pretty much where everything is. Up here we have the spring, that's for the front impact. So we got a little shock absorber up there. Servo for steering is here. Servo for brake is on the other side. It's quite a small one. Yeah, a little look inside. There's our big rear shock, pretty neat. So I don't think it's broken at all, but I wanted to get that bolt out. There's this bolt here, and I think I broke it off. I can't see downside, but the screw I took out has definitely been snapped. So that's looks like it's full of Loctite. So I don't know if I'll add any more Loctite to it, but That was the one I couldn't get off the last time I tried to make this video. So having it all apart and that weird sound when I lay the bike over, that seems to have gone away. Now, having taken that all apart and put it all back together, almost all back together, we do have this one screw left over that I could not find. I could not find a spot for it. And I put all the screws from one location in one place. I don't know if you noticed, I actually have an organization. And when I went to put them back in, I'm like, where does it go? Because there's no hole for it. And it was up around where the receiver goes. So I filled all the holes with screws, and I still have this one. Extra screw. Anyway, herein lies a problem in not having actual instructions and only having these blow-ups. So some things are not shown. So for example, this is the side plate where the flywheel goes. Up here there are a bunch of holes, and you put different length longer bolts in than you do elsewhere, and there's no bolts. So you think, oh, maybe that's on another page. It's not on the first page. It's not on the next page. That's for your transmission and your slipper. Next page is your shocks. This page is your wheels. And that's all the pages. So if you take your bike apart, be aware that all the screws up top that attach across to the other plate or attach to the gas tank area, the seat area, the plastics, there's no diagram of what screws you use. So when I was putting back together, I had 3 different longer length screws, and they each went in separate holes. So be very careful when you take it apart that you keep track of where those screws go. You don't want to end up putting long screws in short screw holes, etc., or short ones in long ones, and then your bike comes apart. So that's all up top underneath this plate. And I do have that extra screw, but I actually figured out which holes fit which screws up here. But it's kind of annoying that in this blow up, it doesn't show how any of the plastics go on the bike, except for it shows the exterior plastics, but it doesn't show how those plates attach to the plastics that are behind them. It doesn't show the bolts. So that's an oversight. It'd be nice if someone had made a better breakdown. I'm sure they'll be coming. Maybe some other company will do it. But be aware, if you take your bike apart, maybe get a little like paint marker and several colors, and just mark the color and put a little dash next to the hole that bolt goes in, and then when you put it back together, it will be a little bit quicker than I just did. Anyway, the good news is all the problems have gone away. So I guess if you have a problem with your servo, don't go buy power tools to get bolts that are Loctited in there. I don't think I broke it. I think I just broke the Loctite. Loctited in there. Don't take it all apart. Just wait, and then the problems will stop. Magic. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope this was a short video. Hopefully you learned something, and I got many more coming. I just gotta film them. See you next time.